Global from Asia, episode 225. Miles, say robot.
Robot.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Miles, that's good. You're not shy. He's drawing a cool robot on my notebook right now. Miles, you like robots?
Like.
We're going to have a birthday party for you too, right? Who you want to come to your birthday party?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I might have to dress up as Spider-Man for Miles' birthday. 4 years old. That's crazy, huh? I remember when he was born before this podcast was online. And the birthday for Global from Asia is October. Be 5 years old. It's a little bit older than Miles. And I hope you guys are enjoying this show. We're at episode 225 of the interview series. If you count together the e-commerce gladiator or the e-commerce series, that's another 30 or so shows. So we're getting up there in the numbers, but we did slow down to 4 a month now. I don't know if you guys enjoy that or not. I know some people have been emailing me that I got to focus on quality over quantity and less is more. So thanks everybody for the feedback. We're going to try the 4 a month set. So this week is our interview series. We have the pleasure of having on us a longtime listener. He's been with us listening and engaging with me since early days. Dwayne Jeffries from Austin Found It. And he remembers when we were just a basic podcast for Hong Kong business back, I don't know, I think 2013 or so. And he comes on. He's been supporting us with coming to these events we've been putting together. He was at the Cross Border Matchmaker in October, and he came out to Cross Border Summit this past April. And while he was here in China, we got to sit down together and record this podcast. He's got a really cool business where he looks into the future trends for products and talks to big. Oh, yeah, good robot, Miles. He gets to talk to big brand retailers and distributors in the U.S. about what's coming up the pipeline. So some of his stuff is confidential, but he gives quite a good insights on some trends to look for. So I titled this, finding some trends in your import-export or e-commerce business. I know a lot of us are Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers, and we look at the past trends, but he also gives us some ideas to think about future trends to stay ahead of the curve. While maybe the search volume might not be there yet, if we're ahead of the curve, we can be one of the first ones, which I think is always an advantage if possible. So let's tune in, and as always, show notes are at globalfromasia.com/episode 225. Miles, say robot.
Robot.
All right, let's tune in. Love Global from Asia and want to get even more? Then check out our members-only area at gfavip.com. Here you'll get insights and access to me as well as other members in our private forum, as well as a ton of other valuable knowledge and information, as well as special connections, monthly calls, insights, discounts on product services and events, and more. Plus, it really helps support the show. Check it out at www.gfavip.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our Global from Asia podcast. We're here in the studio office in Futian district of Shenzhen, and we have with us a listener for many years, right?
Yeah.
Dwayne, you said we talked at the summit. Thanks again for coming to your second event for us.
It was amazing. Yes, I love it. Lots of information.
Yeah, don't much. We are content people here. But it says Dwayne Jeffries, the founder CEO of Austin Found, which is a design, discovery, and deliver service. And yeah, I'm excited to get you on today. We're going to talk about micro and macro trends in products and e-commerce, would you say? Is that right?
Yeah, basically how the macro undercurrent affects the micro trend, and then how to quickly look at those and then maybe even translate those into products. I think it's really important that if you're not looking at trends and you're only just analyzing spreadsheets, it's important to be studying some of the trends so that you can know where things are going and jump out in front of them instead of always chasing them.
True. Which is a little bit different than these Amazon sellers. I think Amazon sellers are Excel experts and data experts, or at least that's what a lot of the probably even talked about at the summit. I don't want to point anybody out, but I think a lot of people say look at the data of the sales, but I think that's looking backwards, right? So today we're looking more forward.
Yes. Actually, we're looking at geopolitical. We're looking at cultural shifts. We're looking at a lot of different things, and all of those things combine into creating a full-blown trend.
Yep.
And that's kind of the goal of what we're trying to discuss here.
Great. And the website's austinfoundit.com.
That's right.
And you basically seem to do everything for the trends, right? So you help design, source, sale, and service. And started in 2007, and you work with a lot of major U.S. retailers for brick and mortar as well as e-commerce. And but you said before we recorded, and I'm excited to hear the story, it actually started in 2002?
Yeah, so I was working for a different company at the time, and I had this idea to start a company because I was continually being approached by several of my customers with these large promotional opportunities, sourcing opportunities. And this is in 2002, and I'm a young kid, basically. I'm in my early 20s, living in a tiny house, no kids yet, and looking at the opportunity. And I think the opportunities can be enticing, that's for sure. So I had an opportunity, and one of my customers came to me. She said, hey, look, I want to do this logo sling chair. And I want to put our logo on it. I want to order 5,000 units. We agreed on the cost. I sourced it through some guy in Boca Raton, okay, not even in China. And this was around, actually, I say 2002, so this must have been in 2001. I take it back because September 11th hit, okay?
Ouch.
And that's when I was supposed to be delivering the product. And evidently, I guess the ports got locked down, and the guy that I sourced from called me and said, hey, FYI, Customs isn't going to release the shipment. Our freights went up, and you have to pay an extra $4,000 to be able to get this shipment released. Well, I mean, I wasn't even making $4,000 profit on this whole shipment. And I had to go and talk to my customer. She's like, I'm going to lose my job. Anyways, I called and negotiated with the supplier. I said, hey, look, I'm not making a thing on this. I really need you to step up here and help me get this thing delivered. So anyways, the customer ended up paying a little bit extra to get the product delivered. It was a wild success, but that experience alone terrified me, kind of shell-shocked me. And, I basically retracted into just my current job and not doing any more sourcing products or projects for about 5 years. And so in 2007, I started to kind of diversify and started Austin Found full bore and never looked back. And it's been an incredible journey.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, listeners might have heard some of my stories in the past. I had a horrible nightmare like that. I lost a couple of days' sleep, quality control problem. But yeah, I mean, I think the most important is we get back in the game, and you got back in 2007. And yeah, we've both been in the game for quite some time, and we've seen it change quite a bit. We were talking about, again, another thing before the show recording was Amazon's kind of taken over Google from product search. And how would you say the trends are? What do you think that happened?
What's interesting is, you talk about things evolving, right? And it's those companies that look at the patterns and see an opportunity and actually react to those opportunities. There's a lot of companies that see the patterns and then they make kind of an assumption, or the comment is, it's not really going to affect us, right? It's not really going to affect us.
Yeah.
That's not the case. I mean, Amazon is very progressive and very aggressive in their approach to business in general. We were searching for product on Google back in the day, and all these other places, right? You go to Yahoo, we check an email on AOL. I mean, it was kind of a crazy setup. Now, 71% of all product search starts with Amazon.
71%.
Now, this comes out of a conversation that I had at Amazon Corporate, okay? So back in June of 17, and actually even probably about 60 to 90 days prior to that, Amazon really had an aggressive push to opening up their Amazon business, business to business side of their that business unit, I guess, and met with a new buyer. And this new buyer, probably in his 30s, came over from a couple other big retailers, Staples, Walmart. I think he even worked at CVS at one point in time. And we were talking back to school at that time. And I did a ton of actual trend research as it relates to icons and colors and the trend curve and where things were going and where they were going to end up. Had a great meeting. It was a fantastic meeting, but we didn't get a chance to go over the trends. And I said, hey, let's just take like 2-3 minutes. Maybe we could just flip through this deck. You can kind of tell me some things you want me to really focus in on. He's like, Dwayne, we don't look at trend decks anymore. I said, what do you mean? He said, man, we go where the data tells us. He said 71% of product searches are starting on Amazon. He said our data capabilities are bar none. Like nobody can compete. And it tells us where to go, when to go, when to get in, when to get out. So, and this is really kind of that was another shocking moment for me. I mean, obviously a lot of the data companies have a huge advantage over just, kind of the single individual. Crunching numbers on a spreadsheet. That's why I think there's a lot of really cool tools out there that you can use to give yourself some leverage, and it's critical to do that. So
yeah, I mean, that's interesting. So trends could, I guess it could come from the data. I think it might show more about the ending of a trend than the beginning. I guess you can also see some new search volume picking up.
Yeah, so take, for example, let's just say, we looked through our trend deck a little bit prior to the show.
Yep.
We're going to be reviewing some of those. It's going to be really exciting. But one of them, we were talking about like this whole trend of age defying, right? You're trying to defy age. Both guys and gals are using those facial masks and age defiers and just a bunch of crazy stuff. Well, let's just say, probably a few years ago, that wasn't such a big component, right? It wasn't so popular, but now it's becoming mainstream. I mean, you're getting tons of people in your Instagram feed putting those crazy looking Night of the Living Dead clear masks, skins falling off looks, and everybody's Instagramming this stuff. And what's happening is people are seeing that and they're like, oh my gosh, I follow that gal and she looks so incredible. And then boom, there you go. These crazy Aztec clay masks, right? Detox masks and black charcoal masks. That's like the big thing now, the whole black charcoal mask. And so Amazon starts seeing this uptick, and then you're just reading that as a blip on the radar, right? And then let's just say today it's a blip at 10. Tomorrow it's a blip at 1,000, or let's just say it's a blip at 100. But those product searches, instantly there's an algorithm that tells you, oh, this has the potential to catch fire. And then once they see that it has the potential to catch fire, they're already so far in front of it with their infrastructure that they can read and react to it. And that's what I'm trying to help some of our listeners think about.
Got it.
So
we have a deck in front of us, and there's so many cool things. I mean, this is a pretty cool business you're in. So you're showing this deck normally to big brands. Is that normally how this works?
Well, normally it's just to raise awareness more so than anything else. But companies, we'll go sit down with retailers, like a Hobby Lobby or a Cracker Barrel or a Tractor Supply or Bass Pro Shops, or could be even Walmart, Target, Kirkland's, whoever it might be, XYZ, U.S. retailer. And a lot of times they'll be giving us their directives, right? It's their icons, their Pantone colors. These are kind of the products that we're looking for. But on the proactive side, we approach it from, these are some of the micro trends that are springing out of some of this macro undercurrent. Not fads, not here today, gone tomorrow, okay? But some lasting trends that you can anchor to and start developing product around. And so we'll show them how they can create some of these experiences in their store and how they can start developing with these types of trends in mind.
Nice. Yeah, so we shortlisted because there was quite a few. So how would do this? I'll just list it to item, and then we'll talk about it. So actually, I wrote it really quick on a piece of paper, wearable, but it's not even. It is. You call it tech hidden in plain sight.
Right.
So, I'm wearing a sleep tracker on me.
And how's that working out for you? Are you getting a lot of good sleep?
I've been, especially after the summit, I've got some spikes in deep sleep and longer than normal amount of sleep.
REM sustained.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the heart rate too, which is cool. And but yeah, of course, people see it, and my kids think it's a watch. I guess it does have a time on it, but I don't really want to wear it. I don't really care if people see it. So I guess this trend is something like this that people can't see.
Yeah. So basically, we've gotten so used to tech being a part of us, and actually, this is springing out of a bigger trend. Okay, and the bigger trend is digital is actually going to start to be integrated into our bodies, right? Implanted under the skin, the whole cyborg stuff. Okay, but until that day comes, you have this micro trend, which is this kind of tech hidden in plain sight. So what we're looking at is earbuds. Now, wireless earbuds, 18-hour battery life. This is a product that comes from Third Skin. And what it is, I think it's hidden right behind your ears, so you can't really see it at all. So long battery life. I think the goal is with this particular product is that it's hidden behind your ears and it doesn't interfere with your actual hearing. When you've got your earbuds or your Beats on or whatever it might be, you can't really hear what's going on outside. Well, this is a kind of a twofold practical purpose. I've seen some really unique things at several tech shows where they're using a bone vibration technology.
Yeah,
have you ever seen that?
I've seen some. It's like a hat you wear, and it somehow sends stuff through your skull.
Yeah. So I've seen some that are like these Bluetooth dots that are the color of your skin, and they place right behind your ear, and it vibrates, and the vibration translates into sound. It's vibrating through your bone, through your skull.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. I've even seen some that have the ability to pick up you talking. So you remember the old, what is it, Jabra or Jawbone?
Yeah.
Like the crazy big beefy battery thing with the crazy little stubby mic. And I mean, we've come a long way since then. So this is an amazing trend, something that people need to be looking out for. And when you're developing tech products, or even if you're an Amazon seller and you're looking to create a branded product, or even white label, private label your own product, these are the types of things that you need to be looking at. It needs to have a practical function, and it needs to really help the end user with convenience, because that's what everybody expects right now, right? I mean, we get irritated if we go in anywhere and we can't have Wi-Fi. Yeah. Like, it's irritating, it's mind-numbing, or if the Wi-Fi is too slow. We were staying at a hotel, and it's supposed to be 5-star, and it's fantastic, and you're here in China, and the Wi-Fi is creeping along. I mean, it makes people crazy because they've grown accustomed to convenience, digital convenience. And so the more convenient you can make your digital products, the more you can sell, right? Because when something's convenient, I'm going to tell you about it, you're going to tell your friend about it, and it's that kind of community of discussing what's popular and what does well that creates a viral product. So
makes sense. And then there's a quick one with the bras. Like, obviously it's up against your chest, so it's heart monitoring.
Right. It's monitoring just like a Fitbit basically, and it's monitoring your heart rate. It has the same ability to be able to just like your tracker, track your steps, track your calories, etc. So it's amazing what happens with a lot of these different things. Earrings, necklaces that are Fitbit trackers. Cooking tables that are digital. I mean, we've seen this on some of the shows, and even probably in like Minority Report, right? These crazy things, but they're really starting to kind of come true. It's pretty amazing.
Very cool. So, Fitcation.
Yeah, Fitcation is a micro trend born out of the wellness movement. Okay, and it's kind of a two-trend mashup, right? So what you have is you've got a lot of millennials that are wanting to go on vacation, but they want it to be this experiential vacation, right? Not only do they want it to be experiential, but they want it to be Instagrammable, right? And what better way to ride on a boat where you can work out, do yoga classes, and totally get away, right? on a fitcation. And actually, this trend I've seen, and I've had so many friends that are like going to Hawaii into these. This also plays on the wellness, right? It's connecting with your spirit. It's connecting with your center, I guess, of sorts. So you're merging wellness and being fit. I mean, because yoga, I think your wife also does yoga.
Yeah, she's into that.
It's an impressive thing. I mean, I can't do any of those poses. I can guarantee you that.
I did hot yoga once. It was ugly. I didn't listen about the don't eat before, and
oh man,
it was rough.
Yeah, hot yoga, man. And, I've got another friend that does some crazy yoga stuff, and it's over the top. But
Nice.
I think looking at some of those trends, you can develop assortments out of that, right? The wellness movement. There's so many different products.
She's planning trips to Malaysia now or something with yoga.
To do a retreat,
Yeah.
right? To find your center, to find your balance, to find your heart, so that you can move in your direction, right, or the way you want to go. And those people are serious, right? They're serious about their yoga pants. They're serious about their printed yoga mats. And they don't want to have one that looks like someone else, right? So there's a personalization twist. So you take a trend of personalization, wellness, and fitcation, and you mash those up. The more trends that you can put together, the more micro trends you can mash up, the more it's kind of like a hashtag, right? The more people that you can capture with that trend, right? It's not so tiny. It's a little bit more broad. So yeah, pretty amazing.
Nice. Are you looking for a Hong Kong agency to help you with your upkeep or registration of a Hong Kong Limited? Check out Unipro Consulting Limited. We are an equity partner in the firm, which is a local CPA practice that has the accreditation to register and upkeep your Hong Kong company. Check us out on the web at www.uniprohk.com. www.uniprohk.com. And another one is augmented reality, which
Yes.
you have it on your deck as augmented package. We showed some VR factory tours at the show, at the summit. I don't know if you got a chance to see it or not, but I mean, go from Asia. We're trying to keep on top of the trends. I think it's a new medium, right?
I think that is an amazing on-trend way. I'm shocked that other big e-commerce giants have not got in the game, and maybe they have, but I think the ability to do a factory tour from your home office anywhere in the world is amazing. And it wasn't until the last probably 2 to 3 years with frame rates and resolution and some of the 4K camera quality that you would actually get any usefulness out of a factory tour that was virtual. But now with Google Glass and some of the other VR, Oculus, the things that you can do, it's amazing. It really is. I think augmented reality and also virtual reality, there's so many ways that have been completely untapped in the market. Now, I went to a conference, and they had you could take your phone's camera and you could shine it on like this pattern. Okay, it was a little bit gamified, right? So you take your phone, you shine it on this pattern that's on a billboard, and instantly it created this 3D effect that was somewhat interactive. And this is that whole augmented reality kind of coming to play, right? Where a child maybe is reading a book, right? Kids now at 2 can navigate an iPad, an iPhone, play any game that they want for the most part. I mean, how did you remember my passcode?
Yeah.
And I mean, they're 2 years old.
It's crazy.
They're really tech has become only an extension of themselves. So they're reading books now. People are creating books where kids flip the pages and you just use the camera to look at the page, and it creates a 3D shape either on your phone that you can interact with, that you can color. I mean, that's all part of this augmented reality. Crayola started doing some of it in arts and crafts. And they've had, I think the experience needs to be a little bit better for it to catch fire, but it's very close. It's getting very close. And I think once it's a little bit more seamless, that's when it'll catch fire. Right now, it's not as seamless as it should be.
All right. Minimalism. This is something I'm a fan of. I try to, although I'm married with kids, so I have stuff everywhere. It's not my own personal stuff, but What is leveraged minimalism?
So basically, what's happening is, so startups, instead of trying to look like big brands, they're embracing the fact that they're homegrown, right? That they're scrappers, that they're living on heart, right? And the whole idea is that instead of making these crazy, expensive, flamboyant packages to display and sell your products, you keep it lean, you keep it minimal, you keep it like it's almost a little bit retro. But when you think of minimalism, right, it's less is more. And that's the truth, right? I think, and any designer in some cases will tell you that, yeah, less is more, right? Because you can quickly get to some of the visual triggers. You can instantly see what the message is because it's not cluttered up with a bunch of crazy patterns or crazy looking insane fonts. So minimalism is about embracing you as a startup and just keeping it raw, right? Because this is also playing on another trend. And the other trend is that Gen Z, hands down, one of the main things that they appreciate when they're buying products from another individual is authenticity, right? It's all about how authentic is this brand, right? How true to form. And the same with the creator, right? If you're out creating product, you need to be true to form because authenticity resonates. You know, it's who we are. It's our essence. It's easy for us to sell out of who we are. And that's why I think it's really important. You know, if you're an Amazon seller, if you're a new startup, if you're doing sourcing, if you're producing products for anyone, you need to be producing the types of products that you love because at the end of the day, if you're doing what you love, it's not really work. So the goal is to do what you love so it doesn't feel like a grind, okay? And that's all part of leveraged minimalism. So,
Got it. All right.
Yeah, keep it basic. Keep it simple.
Clean and simple. And I don't know. I feel like it's similar, but maybe as a minimalist, you might want to do the next one, which is living in a box.
Yeah.
More simplified life.
And we're not
lifestyle.
talking about living in a cardboard box per se, but what we're talking about is kind of a modular lifestyle, right? So, you know, many retailers, like in IKEA, for example, or even lots of Amazon sellers are having a lot of success in creating what I would consider combos, right? Kits. Creating kits. Well, if you take that trend of a subscription box or creating a kit and you leverage it on a large scale, there you go. Yeah. Now you've got a house in a box, right? So you basically, instead of, you know, in the past, you look at modular living and you think like trailer parks, right? I mean, you have a bad kind of association to what modular living really is, but it's not any of that now. I mean, container living is so cool right now. There's tons of pop-up shops that are being produced out of containers. They're stacking containers. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. So right now, I mean, we're talking Nashville, Tennessee. Who would have thought? They're doing tons of like container stack housing.
Nice.
And that's a part of creating kind of a modular living. What's important about it is the fact that, you know, most millennials are not settling down. They want to move around. Another good thing is for some of the share economy like Airbnb, there's tons of investors that are investing into these nomadic type modular housing to create additional sources of revenue. And it's perfect. I mean, I've seen some crazy ABB stuff out there. I mean, really, really crazy stuff. Containers, again, being rented out overnight, tree houses. I've seen in Phoenix crashed planes, parts of planes, right? Like it's a few
Airplane hangar.
Yeah. Or it's actually, no, like think a plane crashed and its tail is sticking out of the desert. And inside of that is a bedroom and a bathroom. And you can rent that place for, you know, $60 a night or something. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But again, millennials are looking for an experience. They're looking for something that's Instagrammable. What's not Instagrammable about a crashed plane and spending the night in it overnight, you know?
Interesting.
So
yeah, it's all about sharing.
I wouldn't say that that's modular per se, but again, container living is modular, and you have to understand that kitting some of these things, creating some very simplified, easy ways for someone to say, okay, yeah, I want that. That's the trend that you're focusing on, the convenience piece of it. And that's what's convenient about modular living.
Makes sense. And then here, this is for the Asia life. I mean, co-family connections. I think, we're here in my workspace. There's probably some kids' noise and grandparents in the background, but I'm embracing the Asia lifestyle. But you're saying this co-family is going mainstream?
Yes, it's a huge global trend right now, and in Asia, it's common where you marry your wife, you have children, and then as you really start to get into the wheel of your career, your mother-in-law and father-in-law, or your mom and dad, come live with you and help out, and I guess you are also helping them out. So it's a circle relationship there, yeah. Right? And in a lot of Hispanic cultures, this is commonplace, right? It's common for grandma and grandpa to live with their son and daughter. And it's common for brothers and sisters just to be possibly in the same house or just in the house next door. This is very common. So what you're having is a lot of micro trends kind of converge here. What you're having is disposable income, right? Millennials are going to college. They believe that if they went and got a fantastic bachelor's degree or even a master's, or they're still pursuing their doctorate, that at the end of the day they would get out and there would be this incredible job waiting for them. But the reality is there's not really an incredible job waiting, and so expenses are going up, and even housing is going up. So you have Gen X. Okay, I'm a Gen Xer. You're probably a millennial, I think.
81.
Yeah, you're a millennial, just barely.
Barely.
So Gen X boomers, their parents, boomers, are moving in with Gen Xers, okay, so that Gen Xers can take care of their parents as they age. But what's happening is brother and sister, millennial, got out of college and haven't been able to find a job, and they're a little bit nomadic, so they're also moving in. So you're creating kind of this kind of co-family abode. I don't really think it's a bad thing. I actually believe that this is a really cool trend that will help families get back to what really matters. And at the end of the day, what is that? That's family. That's connection. It's sad that when we go out to restaurants and whatever, that we all just fall into our e-devices, our digital devices, and we disappear. We don't know how to have a conversation. We don't know how to ask someone, how's your day been going, and actually be interested in hearing the response. So what this does is it allows families to move back in together. I've actually looked at this trend personally because my family, my father, mother, they're aging. My in-laws are aging. It just allows you to leverage your assets to live a life that you can put your money into things that are more important than just some big fancy house or a big fancy car.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I live that life now. It's funny because my Western family doesn't seem to still embrace this trend.
It's a tough one to digest because I think a lot of boomers will say, look, I worked hard. I worked hard. I'm not going to move into your house and raise your kids. Mm-hmm. I think in some of the Asian, Hispanic cultures, the grandparents look at it in a different light. They say, I want to move in with you, and I want to be a part of helping you raise your kids. It's an interesting trend. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time for, I think, the states to really adopt it full bore, but it's a wave that's coming.
I would agree with that. Each one of these points could be a podcast. A couple of more. Sensory retail. Yeah,
so sensory retail, this really stems from an experiential retail scenario, right? So retail or brick and mortar, they're trying to create an in-store experience, right? So I don't know if you've been following the Toys R Us went bankrupt.
I heard.
It's kind of a bad scenario. I mean, retail dropping like flies. Why? Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Because they haven't adapted, right? They've done it the way that they've always done it. And they thought that it's okay, it's going to turn around. It's okay, it's going to turn around. It's not really going to turn around unless you address the customer's needs. You have to give the customer a reason to come shop at your store, right? Because it's so convenient right now to just order product on Amazon. So if I'm going to be inconvenienced, it better be worth my time.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know if you heard, but the Bratz, the owner of Bratz, the brand, the little dolls, Bratz.
Yeah,
Bratz.
Yep.
He put in an offer to buy Toys R Us, and it was, this kind of grand plan of, think of miniature Walt Disney Worlds all over. Like Toys R Us becomes these little miniature experiential Walt Disney Worlds. It sounds like an incredible vision. Toys R Us rejected his bid because they said it was too low. But I agree with the way that he is approaching looking at that market. You have to create an experience. We're talking toys here. Who doesn't love toys? Mm-hmm. But why would you go into a toy retailer that feels like a doctor's office, a warehouse?
It's a warehouse.
It's white.
I remember, yeah.
It's cold. Like if you get on a bike or a skateboard or throw a football in there, you feel like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way when you're selling toys. It should be like, Willy Wonka, right? I mean, experience it. That's the beauty of that particular movie is that's an experiential setup right there.
The chocolate.
The chocolate factory.
The golden bars.
Right.
I still remember that.
The gobstoppers and, Oompa Loompas and everything else. So
Nice. Okay, and then the last trend that we picked out of this many amazing ones is the team building, which I thought would be cool to end with too, because you were mentioning, Global from Asia is a team in a way or a community, and I'm obviously investing a lot in the community here. We just had a conference, and thinking actually right now it's still fresh after conference. I always think about the future, so I'm curious to hear some of this.
Yeah, so the conference was amazing. You always have incredible speakers. I really appreciate that. I always feel like it's a great value, and you just meet incredible people. Mostly like-minded people. We're all out there trying to build our miniature empires, right? Or build something or build a system where we can help others, we can mentor others. We can help them find their way. I love the collaboration. I love the ability to connect. And it doesn't matter if somebody's doing, 20, 50 million, 100 million on Amazon. They would talk to a new guy who's just starting out and has no clue about what to sell, or it's his first time in China.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's a huge divide, but this event brings those two pieces together and allows them to help each other, right? I think it gives that longtime Amazon seller perspective, right?
See where
because
they were,
over the time, it's been a grind and you're at the point where you are now, but to see the passion and excitement from a new startup, a new entrepreneur, just on fire, unstoppable, no fear, not afraid at all. I think that's an incredible thing. And how this plays in with this kind of power pack team building is, you're right, Global from Asia is a team of sorts. It's a community. We're all trying to help each other grow. And what you're seeing in this particular trend about power pack team building is companies are investing in these types of events internally. And we're not talking about kind of the crazy audit events that every social accountability audit, picture posts on the factory walls of people doing the Toyota jump on the beach, or like crazy games and different things like that. I mean, that is a part of it, but really helping companies are really trying to, from a retention standpoint, get into the heart of their employees, right? Instead of it's just like the idea of you can be replaced. Replacing that idea with how can we help you find your center so that you will stay because we value you. It's kind of a different twist. And I think you always have done an incredible job of taking that message and always telling the community that we value you. It's a partnership. We appreciate you supporting us. We support you. We value you. And I think that's really what's important here. Power Pack team building is that these businesses are reiterating the fact that employees, we want to invest in you, in your growth. Because if you're happy at home and personally, then you'll do a better job at work.
Agreed on that. So that's the main ones. And I got some ideas from that. Hopefully the listeners did. So what's the recommendation? So should somebody like one of these and dive into this, or should they apply these across their niche? Like, say they're in a certain category on Amazon or in their products. Should they, how should somebody digest all this inspiration?
So kind of the call to action would be that looking at your business, and you can look at it a couple different ways. I mean, like we talked at the beginning of the podcast, some people like to look at spreadsheets. I'm a very big-time visual guy, right?
Me too.
I strongly recommend doing Pinterest boards. Especially on particular things that you're interested in. What you could do as you're tracking trends or trend reports, you can use keywords. Keywords a lot of times will also give you an idea of where a trend might be going. There's so many different sites out there that offer trend research that you can buy, some for free. You can follow them on Instagram. They're constantly posting incredible, I think Trend Watching Live is one, Trend Hunter is one. There's many different sites out there where you can get as much information visually as you want. Then once you find a trend, especially one that resonates with you, something that you believe in, then you dig deep into that trend and you start developing product out of that trend.
Cool.
That's the key. I think anytime you're developing product, especially product that you want to sell, it's just like Will. It's a perfect example. Yeah. This is an incredible example. I mean, when you're talking about...
We were both laughing. He was like, yeah, wholesalers, I don't like talking to them.
Yeah, well, but the beauty of Will's situation now is that, he's able to develop a system and product around something that he loves, UFC. Find that one thing and then dive into the trend because you will know it better than anyone else. I mean, Will is a perfect example of what can happen if you take something that you're passionate about and by luck in some form, fashion, or way. And actually, I wouldn't say it's by luck. If you've met Will, you'll know he's an incredible worker. And he's incredibly persistent. So I think his persistence, in essence, paid off, right, at the end of the day.
Yep.
So I say find something that you love and start there. That trend will lead you to where you should be developing product.
I love it. So thanks so much, Dwayne. And so who do you work with big I mean, there might be some listeners interested in working with you. How would they work?
So if you're interested in contacting me, we do trend research in some cases, but most of the time we're doing trend research for the companies that we're developing product for, retail programs, both omni-channel and brick and mortar. Again, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at info at austinfoundit.com. Not just Austin Found. Actually, if you search Austin Found, you'll see some crazy low-budget movie out there. But austinfoundit.com. I'm Dwayne. We can, delegate to our team, and our team will reach out to you, and we'll see maybe if there's a way that we could work together.
Very cool. Very cool. So thanks so much, Nick. We got some dinner planned next, and I'm glad to have you back on this side of the world and hanging out. And
it's cool.
Enjoy your time back in Nashville.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, buddy.
Want to check out a factory experience in China in virtual reality? We are a pioneer here at Global from Asia, doing a tour of a factory in China for you to browse and enjoy. It's a EnoPlus factory, a solar LED factory that you can check out multiple rooms. You don't even need a VR headset. You can do it on your web or on your mobile phone. Check it out at globalfromasia.com/VR. VR for virtual reality. More to come soon. Thank you, Dwayne, for sharing. That was a fun time together. We had a Friday afternoon at the little home studio here in Shenzhen, and then thanks for treating me to some pretty awesome beef hot pot nearby. We had a fun talk and some deep conversations about the meaning of life and different religions and amazing futuristic thinking and open-minded thinking. And I think that's what a lot of listeners here are all about is keeping an open mind. I think international business especially opens your mind if it's not already opened, because you're going to be surrounded by different cultures and personalities and generations of people. And I think that one of the main things about succeeding is keeping open-minded, being flexible, willing to learn. And like me, I had no idea I'd be here 10 plus years in China, and a kid on my lap drawing a robot. Miles, say robot.
Robot.
Awesome. He's good at this. Good job, buddy. Yeah. So and planning a 4th-year birthday party for Miles. Let's get Spider-Man. Daddy will be Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
All right. Oh, boy. Maybe we'll get a picture in here. So, and then Global from Asia will be 5 in October. So, thank you, everybody, for hanging on all the way till the end. I always wonder how many people last till the end of the show. Maybe you just forgot to turn the play button off, or you're still driving and the next track didn't start yet. But, I try to add some fun stuff at the end, and Miles is doing an amazing robot now. And Miles, draw Spider-Man. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week, or the rest of your day, or the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world, whatever time of the year or the future you're listening to this. Take care. Best of luck. Bye-bye. Miles, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.